Hello students, in the last video we had looked into the different chemical changes from starting from activity 6.6 to activity 6.8. So we'll just go through now first what all things we studied in these three activities. So you saw that in each change, one or more new substances were formed. For example, in activity 6.6, the ash that was formed after the magnesium ribbon was burned uh, was a new substance which was formed. The ash was a new substance and it was uh, right when magnesium was burnt in air. Similarly, in activity 6.7, the reaction of copper sulfate with iron produced iron sulfate and copper. And you saw that the copper was deposited on that iron blade and that turned into brownish in color. So, both of these are new substances. Copper was deposited on the shaving blade of iron, right? So, iron sulfate is also a new product and copper is also a new product. Now, in activity 6.8, in which vinegar and baking soda were mixed together, it produced carbon dioxide, which turned the lime water into milky. Yes, so it turned the lime water into milky. So, this was the different chemical changes that we looked in activity 6.6, 6.7, and 6.8. Now, other than the new products are formed, what are the different things which are also produced when two chemicals react with each other? So next we will look into it. So what is a chemical change? A change in which one or more new substances are formed is called as a chemical change, and a chemical change is also called a chemical reactions. And chemical changes are very important in our life. Why? This has been explained with the help of examples. For example, digestion of food. We know that in food there are different nutrients and chemicals and such things that when mixed with the chemicals that are produced by each and every part of the body during digestion, if that chemical reaction or chemical change does not occur, our food will not be digested properly. So that is why chemical changes are very important in our life. Other is ripening of fruits. So if the raw fruit does not get ripened, then what will happen? We will not be able to eat those there's sweet fruits, right? Then fermentation of grapes. So fermentation of grapes is used to make wine. Everybody has heard about this liquid called wine. Yes, it is useful for health. It has been made by the fermentation, means by putting the grapes in water for a longer period of time, and that a chemical change occurs in the grapes, and that fermentation of the grapes occur, and it forms a new product, that is wine, right? Then a medicine, the tablets or the medicines or the syrups that we drink, that when we are sick, when we take when we are sick, that medicines are also formed by by doing different by mixing different chemicals. And in that, when they mix different chemicals, so many different chemical reactions happen, and the end product and the last product that we get, that is a medicine which helps us to cure, which helps in curing our body or curing our self. Now, useful new materials which are obtained by the chemical reactions are plastics, detergents. These are also produced by when two chemicals are mixed together. So every new material, so they are saying that every new material is discovered by studying chemical changes. Okay. So we have seen that up till now, that we saw it with so many examples also where chemical reactions is occurring, and that are very important in our day-to-day life, right? But what are the other things which are also produced with the new products, right? Other than the new products, which are the other things which are also produced when two chemicals react with each other? So they are heat, light, or any other radiations such as ultraviolet radiations, then sound, Then some type of smell also comes when two chemicals react with each other. Then there may be a color change. Then others is a gas may be formed. So these are the different things which are also being produced when two chemicals react with each other. So we saw that burning of magnesium ribbon. Yes, in the first activity of chemical changes, we saw that the burning of magnesium, it gave light, right? It gave us light. So burning of coal, wood, leaves is also a chemical reaction. So anything we burn, so that is a chemical reaction. In fact, burning of any substance is a chemical reaction. And burning, you know that when anything burns, it produces heat. So burning is always accompanied by production of heat. Whenever any substance burns, it produces heat. Now, for example, explosion. Everybody has burned firecrackers. Yes, when firecrackers only burst when the chemicals that is inside the firecracker react with each other. It produces heat also, produces light also, and it produces sound and also some gases which pollute our environment. Okay. Now, when food gets spoiled, it produces foul smell. Yes, you must have seen that when you don't put the food that is left over inside the fridge, then it is left outside, and after the next day, if you just smell it, it will be a different smell will be coming, and that smell is not good. So that is because of the chemical reaction that has occurred in that food. So that is why it's giving a foul smell. Similarly, you must have noticed that when you cut a slice of apple and keep it for some time outside, it turns brown. So that is also a chemical reaction that the apple is having with the oxygen, with the air in the with the air. Okay. Then similarly, it is for potato, brinjal, and everything. You must have seen the color change. This is due to the formation of new substance when it comes in contact with air. Okay. So students, we had looked in the last video about what are the different chemical changes using the while going through the activities, and we had also seen that we had also discussed about the different things which also get produced or which are also products of a chemical reaction other than the new products which are formed. They were heat, light, sound, change in smell, change in color, and some type of gases were also formed. Now we'll move further in the chapter to the next part, that is rusting of iron. We already studied earlier in this chapter that what is rust and what is the process rusting. Okay. Now we'll look what is rust with a formula, how the rust is formed, and why rust is not good. Okay, so let us get back to rusting. This is one change that affects iron particles. Okay, so rusting mostly happen in a metal that is iron metal, and it destroys the iron metal slowly. For example, you know that bridges, ships, cars, truck bodies, and many other articles are made up of iron. And when they get destroyed, there is a huge loss of money due to the rusting of those parts of the materials or those parts of the objects. Now, how rusting occurs? So, the process of rusting can be represented in equation as iron plus oxygen plus water. It forms what? Rust. And rust is what? Iron oxide, that is Fe2O3. So, for rusting, oxygen and water or water vapor are very much essential. So in fact, if the content of moisture in the air is high, which means if it is more humid. So when the water vapor is high in the atmosphere, we say that it is humid. Okay, and in that climate, the rusting becomes very fast. So what can we do to prevent the iron metal from rusting? So what we can do is we can apply a paint or grease on that material. It is made up of iron, but we have to regularly apply this paint or grease because these things get off easily from the iron material after some time. So we have to regularly apply it to prevent rusting. Another way is to deposit a metal like chromium or zinc on iron. Okay, so if you put a layer or a coating of chromium or zinc on the iron material, then it will not get rusted very fast. So the process in which a layer of zinc is being coated on iron is called as galvanization. So this is important for you. Galvanization is what? It is a process of applying a coat of zinc on an iron material. So the iron pipes that we use in our home at many places, they have a zinc coating on it, that they are made up of iron only, but they have a zinc coating. That is why they give a shining look, and also they do not rust very easily. Now, many parts of the ship are made up of iron material, and the ship, you all know that it's always in water, and the ship sails mostly in the sea water, and sea water is very salty. So, when the paint which is applied on the iron material comes in contact with the salty water, it gets off from that material very fast, and because of that, the salt comes in contact with the iron metal, and the iron metal starts to rust. And if any part of this big ship start to rust, then it is very necessary that you should replace that part. Okay, so if you keep on replacing the different parts of a ship every time, then it does what it is a very big monetary loss, that is a money loss for the world, right? Because ships are traveling from one place to other. That's a very long distance through the sea, through the water. So it always comes in contact with water. So that is why it is said that a fraction of ship's iron has to be replaced every year. So the monetary loss is very high because of that. Okay, and this blue box, in the blue box it is written how stainless steel is made. So stainless steel is made by mixing iron with carbon and metals like chromium, nickel and manganese. Okay, so it does not rust. Okay, students, so we have come to the end of this chapter of physical and chemical changes. We had studied so many things here: chemical changes, physical changes, and then we studied about the different activities using which we explained what is a physical change, what is a chemical change. Then we learned what does rusting of iron mean by using a formula, what is rust. Then, yes, and why rust? Because what happens because of rusting? There's so much money loss because of the rusting that happens on the iron metals, and how it can be prevented. These all things. What are the ways how you can prevent the rusting of iron? That also we looked into. Okay, and the last topic now here is crystallization. So, what is crystallization? It is a method of obtaining a pure substance from its solution. Okay, so the salt obtained in this manner is not. So, we had learned in the previous class that last year means in the last year's class, that if you want to separate water and salt, what we were doing, we were using the evaporation process. Okay, but the salt that is obtained using the evaporation process was not pure. So how to get pure things? So they say that however large crystals of pure substances can be formed from their solution. So when we get a pure substance from its solution, this process is called as crystallization, and it is a physical change. It is not a chemical change, because the liquid is being converted to solid from that is crystals. So that is why it's a physical change. Now, how what experiment we can, or what activity we can do to test the crystallization? We have to take a cup full of water in a beaker and add few drops of dilute sulfuric acid. Then you have to continuously keep on heating the water. And after the water gets starts to boil, you have to add copper sulfate powder slowly and keep on mixing it in the water. Now there will come a stage when no more amount of copper sulfate powder will mix in the water. Okay, so at that time you have to stop the heating process and try to cool it down and try to keep it in the room temperature for some time. So what you will see that after some time you will see that the crystals are formed at the bottom of the beaker. So these crystals are of copper sulfate and they are pure crystals. Okay, so which are obtained from the solution of copper sulfate. Okay, so that is why, so crystallization is what? It is a process of obtaining pure substance from its solutions. That is called as crystallization. Okay, so here we have learned so many things, so many changes, so many activities, and so many chemical formulas, chemical reactions. So these all are very important. You should remember these formulas, the chemical reactions, and all such things. Okay, so uh, so please always keep on reading these activities, so that these activities are very easy. You can also explain them in your simple words. So we complete this chapter 6 here. Hope all of you have understood the chapter well. If any doubts, you can ask in the online classes. Okay.